Herkese merhabalar. Bu videoda minik bir okuma yapacağız. Bir kitap okuyorum, Sineklerin Tanrısı. Bir bölümünü de beraber okuyalım istedim. İkinci ya da Birinci Dünya Savaşı sırasında tam emin değilim ama bir dünya savaşı var. Bir adaya düşen çocukların başına gelenleri anlatıyor. Çok fazla metafor içeren bir kitap. Başlıyorum. I tell you what, yes, you too, Ralph. Me, why me? I don't know. You got him over the fire and you're chief and he isn't. But he is Jack Meredith. Bu çocuklar yaş aralıkları 8 ve 13 arası değişmesi lazım. Genelde diyalog ağırlıklı. I've been in bed so much I've done some thinking. I know about people. I know about me and him. He can hurt you. But if you stand out of the way, he will hurt the next thing. And that's me. Vicky is right, Ralph. There is you and Jack. Go on being chief. We are all drifting and things are going rotten. At home, there was always a grown-up. Please, sir, please. And then you got an answer. How I wish. I wish my auntie was here. I wish my father, oh, what's the use? Keep the fire going. The dance was over and the hunters were going back to the shelters. Grown-ups know things, said Vicky. They ain't afraid of the dark. They will meet and have tea and discuss that things will be alright. They wouldn't be set fire to the island or lose. They will build a ship. The three boys stood in the darkness, striving unsuccessfully to convey the majesty of adult life. They wouldn't quarrel or break my specs or talk about the beast. If only they could get a message to us, cried Ralph desperately. If only they could send us something grown up, a sign or something. A thin veil out of the darkness chilled them and set them grabbing for each other. Then the veil rose, remote and unearthly, and turned it to an inarticulate gibbering. Percival Bamey's medicine of the vicarage Harcourt, sitting Anthony lying in the long grass, was living through circumstances in which the incantation of his address was powerless to help him. Biraz eğer yetişkinler adada olsaydı ne yapardık vesaire konuşuyorlar. Ne yaparlardı? 6. bölüm. Beast from Air. Havadan gelen canavar. There was no light left save that of the stars. When they had understood what made this ghostly noise and Percival was quiet again, Ralph and Simon picked him up and unhandily and carried him to the shelter. Piggy hung about near for all his brave words, and the three bigger boys went together to the next shelter. They lay restlessly and noisily among the dry leaves, watching the patch of stars that was opening toward the lagoon. Sometimes a little cried out from the other shelters, and once a big one spoke in the dark. Then they too fell asleep. A silver of moon rose over the horizon, hardly large enough to make a path of light even what is set right down on the water. But there were other lights in the sky that moved fast, winged or went out. Not even a faint. Bazı kelimeler var. Hiçbir zaman tam doğru çıkartamıyorum. True. Şu. True. R ve G yan yana geldi mi ben? Bittiğinin resmidir. Popping came down from the battle fought at 10 miles 8. But the sign came down from the world of grown-ups, though at the same time there was no child evacuated. Trail across the sky, and darkness again and stars. There was a speck above the island, a figure dropping swiftly beneath the parachute, a figure that hung with dangling lips. The changing winds of various altitudes took the figure where they would. Then, 3 miles up the wind hissed it and bore it in a scanning curve around the sky and swept it in a great slant across the reef and ledging toward the mountain. The figure fell and crumpled among the blue flowers of the mountainside. But now there was a gentle breeze at 8-2. 8-2. And the parachute flopped and banged and pulled. So the figure, with feet that dragged behind it, slid up the mountain, yard by yard, puff by puff. The breeze held the figure through the blue flowers, over the shoulders and red stones, till it lay huddled among the shattered rocks of the mountain top. Here the breeze was fitful and allowed the strings of the parachute to tangle and festoon, and the figure's head, its helmeted head between its knees, held by a complication of lines. When the breeze believed the lines would strain out, and some extent of the spool lifted the head and chest upright, so that the figure seemed to peer across the brow of the mountain. Then each time the wind dropped, the lines would slacken, and the figure bowed forward again, sinking its head between its knees. So as the stars moved across the sky, the figure sat on the mountain top and bowed and sank and bowed again. In the darkness of early morning there were noises by a wreck a little way down the side of the mountain. 2 boys rolled out a pile of brushwood and dead leaves, 2 dim shadows, talking sleepily to each other. They were the twins on duty at the fire. In theory, one should have been asleep and one on the watch, but they could never manage to do things sensibly if that meant acting independently. And since staying awake all night was impossible, they had both gone to sleep. Now they approached the darkness march that had been the sign of fire, yawning, rubbing their eyes, treading with practiced feet. When they reached it, they stopped yawning, and one ran quickly back for brushwood and leaves. The other knelt down. I believe it's out. He fiddled with the sticks that were pushed into his hands. No. He lay down and put his lips close to the smudge and blew softly. His face appeared. Literally, he stopped blowing for a moment. Sam, give us. Thunderwood. Eric went down and blew softly again till the patch was bright. Sam poked the brace of tinderwood into the hard spot, then a branch. The glowing grazed and the branch threw fire. Sam pulled 1 more branches. Don't burn the lad, said Eric. You are putting on too much. Let's warm up. If you'll only have to fetch more wood, I'm cold, so am I. Besides, it's dark. All right then. Eric scattered back and watched Sam make up the fire. He pulled a little tent of dead wood, and the fire was safely all right. That was near. It will happen. Maxie, huh? For a few moments, the twins watched the fire in silence. Then Eric sniggered. Lucky you and for Jack stayed with us. Remember old Maxie at school? Boy, you're driving me slowly insane. The twins shared the identical laughter, then remembered the darkness and other things and glanced round easily. The flames busy about the tent threw their eyes back again. Eric watched the surge and wood lights that were so frantically enabled above the flames and thought of the first fire, just down there on the steeper side of the mountain where now was complete darkness. He did not like to remember it and looked away the mountain top. Arms radiated now and the beat brilliantly on them. Sam amused himself by fitting branches into the fire as closely as possible. Eric spread out his hands, searching for the distance at which he had just airball. Idly looking beyond the fire, he wrestled to scatter rocks from their flat shadows into daylight contours. Just there was this big rock and then 3 stones there. That split rock and there beyond was a gap. Just there. Sam, huh? Nothing. The flames were mustering the branches, the bark was crawling and falling away. The wood exploding. The tent fell inwards and flung a wide circle of light over the mountain top. Sam, Sam. Sam looked at Aaron interruptedly. The intensity of Eric's gait made the direction in which he looked terrible, for Sam had his back to it. He scrambled around the fire, so that Eric and looked to see. They became motionless, gripped each other's arms, for unwinking eyes aimed and 2 mouths open. Far beneath them, the trees of the far side, then roared the hair on the far side fluttered, and flames blew out sideways from the fire. 15 yards away from them came the plopping nose of fabric blown up. Neither of the boys screamed, but the grip of their arms tightened and their mouths grew peaked. For perhaps 10 seconds they crouched like that while the failing fire sent smoke and sparks and waves of inconstant light over the top of the mountain. Out they had but one terrified mind between them. They scrambled away over the rocks and fled. Dreaming, he had fallen asleep after what seemed hours of tossing and turning noisily among the dry leaves. Even the sounds of nightmare from the other shelters no longer reached him. Or he was back to where he came from, feeding the ponies with sugar over the garden wall. Then someone was shaking his arm, telling him that it was time for tea. Ralph, wake up. The leaves were roaring like the sea. Ralph, wake up. What's the matter? We saw the beast. Plain, warrior, the twins. We saw the beast. Quiet, Piggy. The leaves were roaring still. Piggy bumped into him and grappled him as he made for the moon of paling stars. You can't go out, it's horrible. Piggy, where are the spears? I can't hear them. Quiet then, lie still. Then lie there listening, at first with no doubt that with terror the description Tim spurted at them with those extreme silence. Soon the darkness was full of clouds, full of the unknown menace. An interminable dawn faded the stars out of it, sad and gray filtered into the shelter. Kocaman bir sinek gördüler. Onu canavar sanıyorlar çocuk oldukları için. Belki yine bu kitap olur ya da başkası olur. Bilemiyorum. Diğer bir okumada görüşmek üzere. İzlediğiniz için çok teşekkür ederim.